everybody, and welcome to yet another horror on TV episode. And TJ's trying to show me something, but I can't exactly see it. I'm hoping that it's he can't he's not telling me that he can't talk. um, so I'm gonna go ahead and do some housekeeping stuff. I think TJ just stepped away for a little bit, so um anyway, me and TJ are going to be starting a new horror on TV set of streams, and this is going to be for the Creepshow series that's on Shutter. So, for those of you that have Shutter, I you can either watch it on there, or I think they have the first four seasons out on Blu-ray, which I have purchased. One, because I wanted to watch them. Two, in preparation for these streams. So we're going to be covering the first six stories. Actually, there's two stories per episode. So there are 12 total on the season one. Hey, Kathy. And I see Uncle Bill's been in here saying, oh, Lord. This is going to be fun, Uncle Bill, I promise. If you're still in here, I promise that this will be fun. This show, this series was started by Greg Nicotero. And the first episode, when we start talking about them, is going to be based on a Stephen King short story. I believe this one was from Night Shift called Gray Matter, but we're going to get into that. But I just wanted to let everybody know that I do have some neat, can't talk, new t-shirt designs, including a TMI show design that people have been asking for. So I will once again put the link to my TeePublic store in the chat. Sorry, I was eating some flaming hot Doritos before I got on here, and it's making my nose run. Um, so if you are at all interested in the TMI show design, plus we have a movie munchies, like the original design for the movie munchies. It says sugar and spice with a large butcher knife. Um, you can thank Blissful for suggesting that I do a design for the movie munchies pigs in a blanket. So I actually have the movie munchies deliverance squeal like pigs in a blanket design. And there are also two older designs. All the designs are $16 a piece on t-shirts right now. So if you want to get them at the cheaper price, you can definitely pick them up for $16 a piece on TeePublic. And I see TJ's got something really cool back there. So we'll let him show that off when I get him on here. So in addition to that, I'm going to be having some commercials coming up. I've got to get them put together. Also, a fancy, hot off the press, new design for the Midday with Dana and Jay show. I think you guys are really going to dig that one. And I'll need to come up with some designs for this horror on TV, and maybe I can get TJ to send me a headshot that I can. He's a filmmaker. He's got to have some headshots somewhere. So I'll try to talk him into that, and I'm going to put him on the spot when I do get him on here, where he can't say no to me. Maybe he can't say no to me. I don't know. We'll see. But what have I got going on the rest of the week? So tomorrow night, Seductive Poison, the Resurgence. I am feeling a lot better, folks. And I'll tell you real quick, I think I found out what was wrong with me. And it was a simple thing. You remember, or do you guys pay attention to the salt you buy? Like, some of it says it has iodide in it, which is an essential nutrient. Okay. But some salts you get does not say that, or it says it doesn't supply that. Okay. So for the last probably over a year, I had been using different types of salts that did not have iodide in it. And I got to thinking, well, maybe I'm deficient in iodide or iodine, actually. And so I looked it up, and fatigue is one of the things. It can mess with your thyroid. It can make you really tired. It can give you dry skin. And believe me, I've had dry skin lately, too. So it can cause achy joints, which I've also had. And I was like, well, damn it. So the last 2 days, I have made myself an omelet for breakfast. And I have made sure, because I put salt and pepper in my omelets, that I've used the salt that has the iodide in it. And, people probably think, well, you can't feel better that fast. But yeah, I'm feeling better that quickly. So I figure once I get it back up to the right levels of iodine in my body, then maybe I'll feel like a new woman. I don't know. Um, but I just know that I'm feeling better now. So I will be doing a triple threat review show tomorrow night on Seductive Poison the Resurgence, covering the 3 movies that I had planned on doing last week and was just too wiped out to do it. Friday will be another midday with Dana and Jay. I don't know what the hell we're going to talk about, but it's always interesting when me and Jay get together. So, um, y'all be sure to tune in for that. Um, Saturday and Sunday, got a couple of watch alongs. Saturday's watch along will be My Bloody Valentine, the original Canadian slasher classic, for which, for me anyway, there are no substitutes. So that will be starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturday. Sunday will be My Girl. Don't know how many guys we're going to have in here for My Girl. Might surprise me though. Might have a bunch of them. Might just only be ladies. I don't know. It's always a surprise. The movie Munchies for Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time will be My Bloody Valentine chocolate heart-shaped cupcakes with red frosting and pickaxes in the middle of them. So y'all be sure to join me for that as I make a little treat. Jay will probably be there salivating because that's what he usually does whenever I make something, especially if it's something that's got chocolate in it or it's, a sweet, something for people's sweet tooth. So I'm going to go ahead and add TJ, and then I'm going to put him on the spot here in front of everybody. Hey, TJ. It's not going to be anything really bad, TJ. I promise.
It'd be me in the corner, me in the spotlight.
I'm not going to make you sing REM songs or anything
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
not
So
like Bill Shatner when he did songs. He just talked them.
I would imagine you're better than that, TJ. So
So for My Bloody Valentine, are you watching the uncut version?
oh yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I was wondering.
Definitely the uncut version. I'm glad you said something because that'll help people, especially people that have their own copy, to know which version to watch. Um, but what I was going to put you on the spot for is I want to do a commercial for the TMI show.
Uh huh.
As if we haven't hyped that show up enough. But I thought it would be so hilarious, TJ. And I'm just, wanting to see how all these clips are going to turn out. And you're not the only one I'm going to ask for a clip. I'm going to ask CK and Uncle Bill to do one. I'm going to ask anybody and everybody that was in that chat if they will send a clip. So me and Blissful were talking, TJ. And we thought it would be just so hilarious. If I don't know if you can do a padded room scenario, but you're a filmmaker. We thought it would be so hilarious if you acted like that had traumatized you so much that you never got over it.
I mean, I don't have access to a padded room, so
Could you make a facsimile one, a
we can
facade?
figure it out. It might take me a little bit of time. When do
Well,
you
that's okay.
when do you need it by?
Well, I mean, how long do you expect that it would take you to come up with some kind of facade like that?
Um,
I don't want you to put a bunch of money or anything like
oh,
that
definitely
into it.
not.
Okay, good, good, because I don't want you to do that.
I don't have a Patreon that I can pay for doing special videos here. Um,
Right.
if someone wants to donate to Dana, and then she can give you the money. You want to donate a couple $100? I can rent out a padded room. Yeah, if I can find um, like a background thing,
Oh yeah,
I can
yeah.
save that. Yeah, I don't know. Padded room. I'll figure it out. Let me try to.
Do you have a green screen
No,
or
I don't. I'm
access
just
to
thinking
a
of
green?
buying one actually.
If mine wasn't so large, I would send it to you, but I don't to borrow. But I don't think it will work exactly right. But you can just use like green material, and you can do you don't have to necessarily have a screen that you pull up or pull down to do that. I just ended up getting one like that. But um, so yeah, just take your time with it, TJ. And when I get all the clips, I don't know how long it, or even if CK and Uncle Bill, if you're still in here, let me know if you could come up with something, because I think this would just be hilarious to do a commercial where the people that were in the chat, how supposedly how it affected them in certain ways. And I just imagined you, like, I wanted to have a straight jacket on you, but that might be going a little bit far. TJ in the straight jacket in the padded room saying, I just never got over the TMI show or something like that.
Yeah.
We just thought that was funny.
I mean, it is true. I haven't, but that's
TJ never has recovered.
yeah.
He's seeing his psychiatrist now because
Yeah, Uncle Bill, does he charge? How much does he charge?
oh, I don't know. You'd have to ask him. I don't know if he just did a drive by and dropped in here just to say, "Oh Lord," or if he's still in here or not.
Probably.
Um, but Uncle Bill, if you are in here, I want you and CK to do clips. Jay's already sent me one clip just for the midday with Dana and Jay, and the other one specifically for the TMI show, and I was laughing. I couldn't stop laughing actually.
Does
So
that mean the TMI show is going to come back a bunch of times?
well, we're gonna do a TMI show part two. However,
Oh,
I think we've uh, I think we've told all the tales out of school about sexual escapades, so there won't be any of that. So you can breathe a sigh of relief on that. Blissful says, please, TJ. So she really wants you to do
she
this.
wants to see me in a straight jacket. That's all she wants.
Well, I don't know. I couldn't stand to be put in a straight jacket. If I did lose my mind and the men in the white coats came and put me in one, I'd probably lose my shit, and then they'd say, well, you're extra crazy. We're gonna throw you in the special padded room or something. But anyway, Blissful says the Dead Pit Boys is going to go sideways. It's only the best and wrong ways. I'm sure they will come up with something that's very funny and very wrong at the same time, especially CK. I can just imagine. But so anyway, that's all I was going to put you on the spot for, TJ.
Okay,
Was
that wasn't so bad. That was all right.
yeah, it was pretty painless, wasn't it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
So TJ, it looks like before we get started talking about these episodes, it looks like TJ has the Stephen King Creepshow comic.
So this was the
Or
later printing, and the biggest difference is
yeah,
about $10 because I have the first printing
that's the one I have.
with this back.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. I think this is creepy. I don't know why they just didn't reuse this photo. They did a new.
Yeah, they did a more I guess an older Stephen King.
This
Uh,
must have been when he was, doing doing certain things that he doesn't like to
doing
do anymore.
certain substances that he
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
do anymore.
But yeah, it's like this. This was 6.95, and the new version was like $19. I'm like, really?
Wow.
That's crazy. Like that's inflation, man. That's inflation. I also have
Is
the
that one is that one still a paperback?
yeah.
Soft cover? Well. Mm.
I had seen a couple of hardcovers on eBay, but I didn't know if they were real or not because I don't know if they ever put out a hardcover.
Oh, Wes is in here. Well, Wes, I'll tell you. I want you and Uncle Bill to do a little clip for a commercial for the TMI show. Uh, I just I just think that we're gonna get TJ to do something for that. So, and Jay's already sent me something. So I want
Oh,
to
I
get
can't wait
his.
to do that.
Yeah, y'all will get to see the finished product when I get everybody's clips. So for anybody that's in here right now that wants to send in a clip, you know, um, a lot of you I have on Facebook. You can just send it to me that way. That's the way Jay sent me the clips. I also have Uncle Bill because freaking Uncle Bill doesn't have a Facebook anymore. So we'll have to make other arrangements if he wants to send me something. Blissful says, TJ, did you say you were a Star Wars fan?
Yes. I don't know if I ever said it, but yes.
Um,
Why?
Wes, we are doing another TMI show too, but it's not going to be sexual. And TJ signed with relief, extreme relief.
It's gonna
Uh,
be too much TMI. Too much.
yeah, that might be an idea if you don't mind me stealing that,
You can
TJ.
steal it. Just give me credit in the credits.
Okay, I would. I definitely give people credit where credit is due. So when I use that, and I'll remind people again, that was TJ's idea because he just said that. Uh,
Hope CK's promoting in the.
yeah, he's promoting their big interview on Friday at 10 p.m. Eastern time. So
Oh,
it will not conflict with midday with Dana and Jay at least
yes.
because we're at 1 p.m. Eastern time.
Also, I don't know when. I think on sometime near Valentine's Day, the Rad Pack is doing a comparison, or they're comparing Valentine and My Bloody Valentine to see, I guess, which is the better movie.
They're talking about the original My Bloody Valentine.
Yeah.
Well, I could say right off, but
Well, I have
you
a
know,
friend who likes Valentine from at least the three main Rad Pack people. I'm not gonna say her name.
yeah.
It's bad. I mean, you could like that movie. I mean, it's not the worst movie ever. I just don't think it's that
No, it's not.
great.
It's not the worst movie ever. But if I was to compare it with My Bloody Valentine, there would be no comparison for me. My Bloody Valentine wins.
It has the um, Jack Nicholson curse of The Shining, where you can tell who the killer is just by the beginning of the movie. As soon as you see the character, you're like, "Oh, that's the killer."
Yeah.
The subterfuge of who they make it out to be is not even close. Um,
Uh, Wes says Valentine sucks ass. He said we are talking about it tomorrow. And Blissful's going to send a message. She says, okay, I'll send a message via Dana to you. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Uh, Lover's Lane is better than Valentine. I actually need to watch all of Lover's Lane. I
I
haven't
haven't seen that yet.
seen
I know it exists, but
all. So we'll go ahead and get started with these episodes because it's now getting close to 9 o'clock, and
by the way, I'm wearing my. Even though it's not in the, it's not part of the.
that's cool though. Like
I
it.
was, I was gonna wear this, but I'll wear it next time,
Ah, there you go.
and then they can yell at you for not promoting them.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That'll give them
Oh,
another.
sure, but Dana doesn't do anything.
Like I bought a whole bunch of
It's
shit.
a rag on you, Dana. It's just
I
funny.
know, but I bought a whole bunch of shit from them way back when. They seem to forget that. And I bought stuff for them personally. I got them gifts and things. Hell, I think the first time I met them, I got like 2 or 3 gifts just for Uncle Bill's birthday.
Uncle Bill's here.
That is bullshit, Uncle Bill, because I have bought stuff from y'all in the past. Oh
I have
God,
plenty of
he's
gifts
gonna
for
bring
you.
up the Patreon. I know he is. He's going to.
Well,
Because he says, you know what else?
I would tell you the funniest thing I saw today. I was on TikTok,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw a TikTok, and there's this video of this woman's crying about her father who just passed away, and she's like, "Can somebody who can do Photoshop put wings on it?" And then someone put a picture of barbecued wings on it.
Oh my God.
It was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
It was one of those things that was funny, but it was wrong too.
Yeah, it was funny, but it was like I couldn't stop laughing for like a minute. It was so funny. Anyway, so let's get into
Blissful
the show.
says Blissful says she's hiding in the corner refilling the chat snack bar. That's what we need. We need a real chat snack bar, I think.
I was eating fries, but you know.
I just like I said, I had some uh flaming hot it seems like it shouldn't be this, but Steve brought home a bag of flaming hot Cool Ranch Doritos. And I was like, okay, they're flaming hot, but they're Cool Ranch too. So, whatever. Um, Uncle Bill says, can we talk about how Dana will not acknowledge that we have the best Patreon? She's not a part of it. Guys, y'all have a great Patreon. But, okay, I'll make a deal with you. I'll make a deal with
I
you.
opened my big.
No. No, I'm going to make a deal with them because I've been considering joining their Patreon anyway for a little while now, even without them ragging me all the time. And here's the deal, and it's either all or nothing, guys. I want them to stop putting down Joe Bob Briggs and his Patreon. Um, I can't I can't say anything about the people that come to their streams and stuff because this has just went sideways with all this hate for Joe Bob all of a sudden. I can't reel all those people in. But if you guys, okay, I'll say if you guys can stop talking about how much you hate Joe Bob and how he's lousy, how his show is lousy, yada, 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 for a month, I will join your Patreon. So, do we have a deal on that or not? Blissful says Dana will join if you praise Tara on tour.
I was gonna say that means Dana will never join their Patreon.
Well, if I did the Tara on tour thing, no.
Wow.
But this is this is easy. Don't hate on Joe Bob. What Joe Bob do to you guys? $10 tier, and I got a deal. All right. That's what I was going to join anyway. Was a $10 tier.
So now you have to hire a moderator to watch every single one of their streams to make sure they don't sneak in something about Joe Bob.
Nah, hell, I'll just go into all of them and then. Yeah, I got it, Wes. $10 a month. But y'all got to hold up your end of the deal too. It's a month of no bad mouthing Joe Bob. Okay. So we'll see. We'll see if they can,
Dana watches all our shit.
well, I don't know how they know that. But anyway, let's get started with these episodes before we're here all night talking about the Dead Pit Patreon. Um, so the first episode or the first story is Gray Matter,
Straight to the
which
chest.
is based on a Stephen King story that, as far as I know, unless it was one of those dollar babies where Stephen King like sold it for $1 to like a college, like a film student,
Mm-hmm.
because he did that. I don't know if he still does that or not, but he used to. He would sell them to film students for $1, and they would make a short film out of one of his short stories. And there were several good ones that were made that way. So, unless it was one of those deals, I don't know that this has ever been made into anything. Do
Mm-hmm.
you know different, TJ, or is
I
that what
don't
you're
think so.
so? Oh God, Mayor says, "Don't worry, Uncle Bill and CK. I'll badmouth Joe Bob for you." Well,
The
this is the Mayor. You, as far as I know, you don't have a Patreon that you're wanting me to join. So that's the deal I'm making with the boys. So if you want to badmouth Joe Bob, go for it. So anyway, back to Gray Matter. I believe this story was from the Night Shift collection, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, I've read Night Shift. I don't remember the story, but I haven't read it for a long time.
Yeah, I haven't read it for a long time either, and I probably should have reread it to see how close it was to this particular episode of Creepshow. But as usual, I'm gonna let TJ start talking about it, and then do we want to use the timer on these, TJ?
No, they're not. We're not. First of all, there's no comparisons, and I'm just gonna kind of go through this episode. I'm not gonna get 1,000% specific, but
Okay. All right. So you go ahead, and we'll start talking about Gray Matter.
first of all, we got Adrian Barbeau. We have Tobin Bell, and I was like, oh, it's the Saw guy.
Yeah.
And then we got Giancarlo Esposito, who's been on a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
I was looking at him, I was like, he looked familiar, and I was like, is it him? And it's like, nah, it's not him. And then by the midway point, I was like, it's not him. Then I was like, I read the credits, and I was like, oh, okay.
It was him.
Anyway, it's so there's this town. There's been a lot of they're missing persons, missing cats. The two Grady children are missing, which is hilarious. I was like, oh, they threw a lot of there's a lot of references
Oh, there's a lot of aha Stephen King moments in
in
there.
stuff from Creepshow. It
Yeah.
opens with the creep who's hosting it, who doesn't talk, so it's not like the crypt
Yeah,
keeper.
I kept expecting him to talk the first time I watched it.
So, but he's dragging in the crate from Creepshow, and he
Mm,
opens it up and has a lot of Creepshow comic books in it.
yeah.
And I was like, you gotta put those in plastic bags and put a cardboard back. You can't just throw them in a crate like that. That's ridiculous. Anyway, um, so it's this town. There's a big storm. A lot of people have moved out of the town because of the storm. The supplies are low. Adrian Barbeau runs this sort of like, local store or whatever that has
Mm.
convenience store. She's out of a lot of stuff. They have the two characters, Chief, played by Tobin Bell, Chief of Police, and Doc, played by Esposito. They're just kind of sitting, hanging around. This kid comes in. He wants to get beer for his dad, and I'm like, isn't that illegal? You can't sell underage kids
Right,
beer,
exactly.
whether it's for their dad or not. That's ridiculous. But anyway, um, and he doesn't want to go back to his dad. Um, it's he's very scared to go back to his father. He doesn't want to go. And Adrian Barbeau's, she's like, no, you don't have to go back. She sends the other two guys over to go check the father and see what's going on. They take the beer with them. And then little Timmy is the kid's name. He starts telling Adrian Barbeau the story about his dad. So we get flashbacks. Um, so he basically, his wife dies. He kind of gets depressed. He starts drinking, and then he starts changing in different ways. So basically, it's very. First of all, I was reminded of Jody Verrill a little bit.
Yeah.
There's like some green moss and stuff and like that. So, so we find out the dad is slowly turning into this like monster, and I guess
Mm.
liquids make it stronger and bigger, and uh, the beer is not enough.
And he
So
also gets hungry.
yeah,
His
so
appetite grows.
he turns to human flesh, and we find out the son has been getting him. He's the one who brought the Grady twins. He's been bringing him pets because he wants his dad to be like he used to. Um, and the two guys finally make it, and we see the father's turned into this giant monster, and it's like kind of like the thing where it's splitting apart. And
Exactly. It splits into 2 and 3 and 4.
yep.
It just makes a whole bunch.
Then it basically kills the two guys, and um, one gets like they rip open the store, and the monster reaches in and grabs one of them and throws them out.
Yeah.
Um, and the kid screaming, "It's the end of the world!" And that's the end of the episode.
But did you, speaking of the Stephen King references, did you see the missing pets posters on? And there was one
There was
for
a church from Pet Cemetery.
Cujo and Church. I was like, oh man, this is just so cool. And then, of course, the Grady twins, and the Grady twins got consumed by the father, and um, there were all these animal bones and stuff like that. This was a hell of an episode to start this series off with, because I really, really enjoyed it. Not just because it was a Stephen King story. I think it was. I mean, it had a monster in it. I didn't really feel like anybody was getting their comeuppance in this. It would have. The only thing that might have made it better and more like old EC comics is if the people that got killed were bad people,
Yeah,
that they had done something really, really bad. Um,
I think it's more inspired than copying the formula. I think
yeah,
the effects were good, which is kind of interesting
yeah,
because some later episodes the effects are not good. Um, but yeah, the monster was cool. The dead twins was the zombie twins was cool. There was like a point where the dad is shrouded in a blanket and there's like a tentacle,
yeah,
and that looked pretty good. There's the usual stuff that they do in these movies that I'm like, like I said, the kid buying beer. If I know it's a small town kind of thing. Oh, they know he's not,
yeah.
parties with the booze and stuff.
And it was funny because the chief of police was right there. The sheriff's right there. Oh, sure, kid, we'll sell you beer for your daddy.
Also, the kid's okay with the whole, like he cares about his dad and he's worried about his father, but it's like he should have been aged down a little bit because he seems like the age he is in the
Yeah.
episode, he would be older, acting younger, acting like he's like kind of not stupid, but he's very naive, more than his age. He should be in the, but
He almost acts like he may have some. I'm trying to say this the right way. Developmental
yeah,
issue.
I just think he's supposed to be younger and less. Yeah, I don't think they would have done that. I didn't see that. I just saw him as people can be dumb. They don't have to necessarily have a medical issue.
So he was just a dumb kid, right?
Oh, yes, they don't have any. They don't have Down syndrome or anything.
uh, yes, Wes. All Hallows Eve is in season 1. We're gonna be talking about that one tonight. Um, so I really, really liked this one and enjoyed it immensely. And you know, I can't say I had the same exact enthusiasm for all of these episodes, but you guys are going to be very shocked when we talk about one of these episodes because I've changed my mind on it. So, but we'll talk about that when we get to it.
Okay.
TJ, TJ, is there anything else you wanted to bring up about gray matter though?
No, but just in general, I like what they did. They kept the panels and the backgrounds, and they
Mm,
I applaud them for saving money by having a lot of stuff be comic book panels, so you don't necessarily have to spend all the money on scenery and stuff because you just show it in the cartoon form, which I think
right.
obviously saving money is a smart thing.
And they could put more back into the actual episode,
Yeah,
like the meat of the episode. And I always love watching Adrian Barbeau, by the way, in anything. You could, I don't know, you could put her in a Campbell soup commercial or something like that. And I'd like her just because she has that type of charisma that I enjoy. Um, but if we move on to the second story in this episode, House of the House of the Head, not House of the Dead. I almost said House of the Dead. The House of of the Head. Um,
now it's not porn. It's
no, thank God it's not porn. Um, but this is the most elaborate dollhouse I have ever seen. There's God knows what it would have cost. But when it first started coming on, I thought it was going to be kind of like the Giesen stacks
That's exactly how I was when
episode
watching it. Yeah, I was thinking of that
uh,
episode.
of
Tales
Tales
from
from the
the
Dark Side.
Dark Side.
Yeah, I was like, is this going to be like the Giesen stacks? Because that little girl had a huge dollhouse, and it had, oh
Sorry, I read the
Lord,
chat.
yeah. Don't look at the chat if you don't want to
I'm looking
laugh,
at
because
the private chat, so I can't see it because I'm
they're
not in
just
the private chat. Anyway,
Uncle Bill, you're distracting my talent on here. Like TJ's my talent.
she uses that word loosely.
No. But anyway, so me and TJ were on the same train going into the same station as far as thinking that this was like the Giesen Stacks episode.
By the way,
Um,
uh, um, Gray Matter was directed by John Harrison, and
yes, it was.
Greg Nicotero directed this one, which makes sense because it's a special effects. Not a big special effects. It's not till the end where you see any real like special effects, but I don't know if he did anything with the dolls, which that was like a cool way to show.
I just thought this episode, before I let TJ start talking about, was nerve wracking. It wasn't bad. It was just nerve wracking. It was like, what in the heck's going to happen now? No matter what the little girl does, it keeps getting worse. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to TJ and start talking about the House of the Head.
Yeah, so we have little Evie, and her parents spoil the hell out of her. I mean, I'm like, what are they
Yeah.
millionaires? They buy her every little tiny thing.
Maybe because she's the only kid or something. I don't
Maybe
know.
there's a point in the thing where they buy toys and they're like, yeah, we spoil her. On the back of her door, she has like anime, and I was like, oh, she's actually cool. She's a cool little kid. She got anime. She likes anime. Anyway, she's playing with her new dollhouse. Like you said, it's a very elaborate dollhouse, but it's not as innocent as you think it would be. She has this little family, and they have a little doggy, and there's like a the dog's name is Dane. I think it's and I thought I was just laughing because I was like, Dane, he's great. Get it? Great Dane? Okay, anyway.
I got it. Now, Chad, did you get that?
And I'm not reading it to find out. Um, and the dolls seem to be moving on their own, and she's a little confused. Um, and they seem to be scared of something, which they're very articulate dolls because one minute they're like this, next minute they're like,
They got, yeah, exactly.
and they're very posable. They have like they can move, and their heads are all up, and they're
Yeah, I guess they're fully jointed or
yeah,
something.
yeah. I don't know. There's something weird about these dolls. Excuse me. Um, then she notices on the table there's a head, And I don't know, I've never seen you before. And she doesn't think anything of it. I'm like, if you're a little kid, you see a weird toy you've never seen before, you're not a little bit more shocked. Anyway, the parents are totally oblivious. They don't know what's going on. So I like that the parents are kept out of it. It's just a little girl.
Right.
She's pretty smart. At one point, she gets a cop toy because she thinks, oh, the cop doll will help protect the family from the evil head.
Yeah.
Um,
And it looks like a zombie head
yeah,
too, by the way.
and very like kind of zombie. Um, um, well, the cop loses his head, and
Yep.
she's like, "Well, what do I do?" So she goes back again, and the guy's like, she goes back to the toy shop, and the toy shop owner is like, "We don't have any priest dolls or rabbis." So the daughter's trying to find, an exorcist doll, and he goes, "Well, we have some Native American dolls." So she finds a doll that looks strangely like Old Chief Woodenhead.
Yes, I caught that too.
Also, in the dollhouse is a little ashtray. It is the Father's Day ashtray from the Evil.
I didn't catch that. Now I'm gonna have
They
to go
show it
back and find
twice.
that. Okay.
They show it a couple times. I was like, oh look, they put the tree. They put the. I recorded myself watching it for the first time, so you're gonna see me going, oh look at that. Yeah. I might put that on YouTube if I can get past the censors about putting up copyrighted material. Because
Yeah.
I tried once and they didn't like it. And I was like, well, how come everybody else can do it? You don't like me? Well, that's racist. Anyway, I'm
You're
sad.
promoting the material though. You're good advertising for it.
Yeah, things I can't do, everybody else does. Anyway, she sees the Native American chief trying to find the head. Um, Earlier with the cop, like the cop's like in the basement, like posed with the gun, and the dad walks in. He's like, "What are you doing, honey?" "Nothing, just playing." "Okay, you're gonna come to dinner." Anyway,
Yeah, the parents aren't ever present. It's like they try to be, but they're not.
there's a point where they're watching a movie. They're like, "Come down and watch a movie with us," and they're watching a movie, and they're both like, they both fall asleep, and then she goes upstairs, and
You
then
know,
later,
the first time I saw it, I thought they were dead. I was like, she's gonna look and they're gonna be dead.
I was bothered that they didn't eat the popcorn and they let it all spill all over the table. I was very bothered by that. Um, yeah, so they're oblivious. The daughter's like yelling, like, "Stay away from them and don't hurt them." And the parents are like, "Shouldn't you be in bed?" And they're like, "Oh, I was just having a bad dream." Because the girl's good at she sneaks into the bedroom. She sneaks into
Yeah.
her bed, and I'm like, your parents are just. I mean, I don't know. They weren't bad. I'm like, you don't even see anything's weird going on, but whatever. But then again, parents are oblivious to kids all the time. It's no good.
Yeah, well, nowadays they are, so I guess that was a pretty good interpretation of how parents are now. My
Yeah.
parents weren't like that. My mom wasn't like that. She had to know exactly where we were at all times.
Go outside, but don't leave the porch.
Yeah, don't get out of the yard or she'd be standing on the back porch hollering for us, Where are you kids at?
So anyway, it basically so the head kills the whole family. Um, and at one point, one of the dolls, the head has now taken over the doll. So she grabs it and throws the head across the room, and she's like, "You don't belong out here." So she tries to find it. She ends up looking under the bed, and now the head has grown to full size.
Yeah.
And she's like, "You're not supposed to be out here." She grabs the head, puts it back into the dollhouse, and it's pretty simple. She gets her parents to sell the dollhouse, and at the end, they sell it to this woman, and the woman's looking in it, and then you see a little figure, and then the head turns around, and it's the little zombie
Yeah.
head, and the episode ends.
Yeah, because the parents are like, "Oh, she must have outgrown
Yeah,
the dollhouse. She's growing up," and she's like,
Yeah, but the kid's smart. The kid was smart, but then again, she didn't warn anybody. She just let the next person now has to deal with the head. So, but yeah,
But that's kid logic, though.
yeah, yeah. As long as it's out of the house.
Right. So, maybe I missed it. I kept waiting to find that poor dog, poor Dane, to be with his head off. Did we ever see the dog uh, with its head cut off or
I
anything
don't think
like
so.
that? Okay.
I think it was just the family. The little boy. Little boy is the one that had the zombie had taken over the little boy's body. I think it
Yeah.
was the little boy.
Yeah. And I assumed it was she had given him a name and all that, and I figured that was a brother, so I didn't know where he was. If he was away at college, was he an older brother, or had something happened to her brother, or
No, I think it was just the doll she had was a little boy because it would have made sense if it was a brother and a sister and but since it was a brother, I just think it was sort of because they didn't have a dog either, so it's not like it was an exact replica of her family. It was just sort of it's more than you're thinking about it more than they probably thought about it when they wrote it.
probably.
They could have been more clever and made it like be like an exact replica of the family, but
Right. I
that
mean,
would have been more ridiculous.
Giesenstacks weren't
Yeah,
exact replicas of the family, but the Giesenstacks, when something happened to the Giesenstacks, it would happen to the real people in the
yeah,
house.
those dolls were very stylized. They looked very unique, but like
Yeah.
not human, you know, exact models. Sort of like maybe like a Coraline version of humans, kind of thing.
Right. So again, I liked this episode. I didn't like it quite as much as Gray Matter. Gray Matter, I was just all over the place with that one, saying "ooh ah," when I was watching it, and maybe because that was the first episode
That's
too,
probably why.
and this was a new series at the point in time, of course, that I watched it. But I still liked it, rewatching it. I really still enjoyed it. Um,
I think
when
maybe
I,
because it was slightly weaker, that's why they put it second. Because they
right,
want to give you, they want to grab you with the first episode, and then 'cause it's one episode, but it's two stories.
right,
Um, but I think like they put the lesser episode second just because, like I said, it works better for like oh they'll stay and watch this one because they like the first one so much.
right. Yeah, I had so much fun with Gray Matter that
Yeah.
of course, I was going to watch that second one.
But the little
Uh,
girl was good because sometimes you pick a little kid in these and they don't necessarily work out for you.
she didn't really spend a lot of time like screaming her head off. She would
She was
scream when
using
it
her
was
brain. She was
warranted.
being very smart. At one point, I was like, why don't you just get an exorcist doll? Get like a Marin doll or something. That would have been funny. But
Oh man! But TJ, is there anything else you wanted to say about House of the Head?
nope, I'm good.
I am going to go back and look for the ashtray.
Yeah.
Now I have to. I must do that. Um, so the next one, I'm just going to say right off, it's a werewolf.
Oh,
Uh,
it tells you like right from the beginning. So
yeah, yeah.
it's called Bad. Bad.
Bad Wolf Down.
Did you notice the names?
I did notice.
There was a there was a Quist,
Yes,
which is which was Eddie Quist from The Howling.
howling.
There was a character named Nards because of Monster Squad. When they
Yes,
kicked the werewolf and the wolfman's got Nards. Also, the main guy was Talby, which was a short for Talbot, which was
Talbot.
the original Lawrence Talbot from the original Wolfman with Lon Chaney Jr. So
Hmm.
it was. I thought that was. I spotted those names. I was like, Nards. That's a really clever name. That was perfect.
Right. You caught more than I did, TJ. That means that I'm definitely going to have to go back uh, and rewatch this one too.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, I had watched this one and I knew it was about werewolves, but I had forgotten about the military element, the wartime element. And at first I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this or not. But then I got into it, loved, the werewolf transformations, although they were a little bit quicker. Because this is just a episode. This isn't like a full movie where you have a lot of opportunities to have these elaborate werewolf
That's
transformations.
where the comic book panels came in perfectly. I was like, oh,
Yes,
they don't have to do crazy werewolf transformations. They just flash to the panels of the people changing into werewolves, which like I
exactly.
said, I think that's smart to save money. I'm sure people are like, oh, what they show them? Yeah, you pay for it. You want to see a full werewolf too.
Well, that probably had something or quite a bit to do with Greg Nicotero creating this series. He's a special effects guy. He knows how much that shit costs. So yeah, very smart that they did that. But I'm going to turn it over to TJ to start talking about Bad Wolf Down.
Which I think the title is a parody of a title.
Yeah,
Something that I know down. Something I can't
was
remember.
it Black Hawk Down
I
or
think
what?
that might have been what it was.
Yeah,
Was that about World War II?
I can't remember which war it was about, but I do remember the movie.
Oh, it's set in 1992. Somalia, Civil War. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not. Okay. Anyway, this group of soldiers, they're fighting the Germans. One German dude is really machine gunning a bunch of guys. One guy gets a drop on him, stabs him, right? Yeah, stabs him,
Yeah,
kills him. Um, um, his father, who is like the head, whatever you call them. What are the not a general?
I can't remember all the rankings, unfortunately.
But do you know who played him? Who played the German soldier guy?
Oh, Jeffrey
Jeffrey
Combs.
Combs. Yeah, I was like,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah,
we just watched Reanimator last weekend. I was like, hey, it's Jeffrey Combs. What's he doing?
exactly.
Played an evil German. What a nice guy. So the German who was killed earlier was his son, and at first he goes from, oh, my son is now dead, but you idiot, you should have
Yeah,
taken
you
him.
yeah, you deserved it.
You kill them. And then he's like sad again that he's like, no, now I got to find the people who killed my son. Um, so anyway, these group of soldiers end up taking shelter in this old prison,
Mhm.
not prison, but like an old jail, like one of the
Jail.
old,
Yeah.
like in the old westerns. It's just like the office, and then there's some cage, some cages in the back. Um, they're there just until they figure out what they're going to do because the Germans are all over the place. Um, they they see this dead body and it's all like cut up, it's all like ripped apart like some animal.
Right.
And then you just notice little blood wolf prints all over the place, and like the walls have like claw marks and stuff like that. They find one of the soldiers alive. His throat's cut, so he can't talk, but he's got the big, um, Jack from American Werewolf in London, like the gash down the
Yeah.
side of his face. And he's trying to tell them something, but like I said, he can't talk because his vocal cords are cut. There was a point where one of the soldiers is a little bit, not a wimp, but he's very like, he's probably young and like probably is the first time he's been to war, and he's got a cross and he's praying, and one of the other Quist is sort of the big douche of everybody.
Yeah.
Um, and Sergeant Talby is like the head guy. And who's the other guy? Oh yeah, Private Rivers is the guy who's the wimpier guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's leaning against one of the cages, and he feels somebody grab him, and he turns and shoots, and there's a woman in the prison. She's like in a white gown. He shot her in the stomach, so she's like screaming her head off because he just shot her. Um, he's like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I'm like, you already shot her. It's not you knew. She's speaking French,
Yeah.
and no one can really understand him. But one of the other soldiers is translating. He looked familiar, but I can't.
Yeah, he did to me too. But,
Oh, he's a rapper, singer. Yeah. Oh, oh, he plays
oh,
Jackson in X. I forgot he was in that movie.
okay.
Yeah. He's the porn dude in X.
That's why he looks so familiar. Yeah, okay.
Um. Anyway, she's translating for them, um, and she's like, don't kill me." But I realized as soon as I saw she had these big yellow wolf eyes, and I'm like, are you not noticing this? I'm yelling at the kids. I'm yelling at the soldiers. I'm like, look at her eyes, look at her eyes. You're worried about her being shot. She's a werewolf.
And that character is one of the characters is Doc Kessler too, which goes back to American Werewolf in London.
Okay. Oh, that's right. I didn't notice that. See, you looked that up. Hey.
I know I cheated. I've got the little comic book
Again,
thing that
okay.
comes with
I
the.
watched it on Shutter, so I didn't have to pay for a DVD. Anyway,
Well, I've been wanting to get them anyway, so here was my excuse.
I wish they turned each episode into a comic book and like tried to like sold them or online or something.
Oh, that would have been cool.
But yeah, so the woman is a werewolf. She locked herself in the jail cell to protect people.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, uh, the reason she tried to grab the guy earlier is because he had a cross which was made out of silver,
Mm-hmm.
and he gives it to her to put her out of her misery, and she swallows it pretty easily without any water. I don't know. She's been in that cell for how long? I'm sure she had no saliva. I don't know how she swallowed that cross so easy. She didn't choke on it or anything, but
Right.
that's a different story. We won't talk about that. This is a G-rated episode. Anyway, I laughed at myself. So she swallows the cross, but they get before she does that, they get surrounded by the Germans, and Colonel Combs has found them. He's like, I want the people who killed my son. I'm terrible with the German accent. To come out, I will. If you come out, I will kill you quick and painlessly,
Mm.
or not. You don't want to come out, and I will make it excruciating. He should have said, "This will be extremely painful."
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Soldiers. That's a reference to Jody Verho. Anyway,
Yep.
so Talbot goes to her. Before you swallow that cross, we want you to do one favor for us. And I was like, oh, I know what they're going to do. So she swallows the cross. And then as the Germans are about to move in on them, she bites each one of them and turns them into werewolf. Oh, I forgot the big plot thing. Before the Germans come, Quist is yelling that the woman's yelling, and it's going to bring the Germans there, and they're going to get caught, and they won't leave. They want to help the woman because they're not douches like he is. So he locks them all in. When they finally find first of all, the keys are in the jail cell just out of reach, and I'm like, why didn't the woman try to get out of jail? And then we find out that she put herself in jail. But anyway, when they finally open the thing, Quist locks them in there, takes the key and throws it away because he's like he's leaving them to die because he's afraid of the Germans. So he starts off as a jerk. He continues to be a jerk. He has no arc of redemption in this episode.
Nope.
So anyway, like I said, fast forward, they're all surrounded by the Germans. They've been bitten. They all break out and basically rip the shit out of the Germans. Some really good gore effects. Now, here's another thing I noticed. I don't know. I'm going to guess it was intentional. So one of the werewolves is really tall and black
Mhm.
and has, long ears, look just like the howling wolves.
Yeah.
One of them is just like a guy with like, you know, um, a werewolf, the nose and the hairy face and everything. So that's a throwback to the original werewolf. Also, probably the Monster Squad werewolf to an extent. And then the third one was like on all fours that looked, you know, more like an actual like wolf dog type, and that I think was a reference to American Werewolf in London.
Yeah.
So I love, even if
Yeah.
it's not a scary episode because you can figure out what's going on and it's not a surprise that they're werewolves, but I like all the references to all the werewolf movies and the names
Yeah.
and the looks.
Exactly.
That was the best part of the whole thing.
And again, I think that credit's got to go to Greg Nicotero for that because, for
Yeah.
one thing, he worked with Tom Savini early on. Tom Savini was a huge fan of things like that. So the werewolf stuff, the uh, Lon Chaney and Lon Chaney Jr. and all of that. He even named his son Lon.
Yeah.
His oldest kid. Well, actually, I don't think that was his oldest kid. One of his first child was a daughter, and she was given up for adoption. And
Huh.
he got reconnected with her later on in life. But Lon was his second child, and of course he named him after Lon Chaney and Lon Chaney Jr. That's who Lon was named after. But I'm sure that Greg Nicotero loved all that stuff too. But he worked with a guy for years that was really into that type of stuff, and so I'm sure it inspired him in some way.
And of
Um,
course, you get the special effects guy to direct a movie episode that has a lot of special
yeah,
effects
it's
because he knows how to shoot stuff where you can see the
yeah,
parts the way they should be shown without spoiling the illusion or whatever. And yeah, I like the werewolf designs. Yeah,
yeah.
it was about the effects and in the little nods. I think that was the best part of the whole
Mm.
thing. Uh,
So I'm kind of curious how, because I kind of lost track of the series after like the second the beginning of the second season, I
uh-huh.
think, was where I don't know what happened, but I quit watching the shows because so they're going to be real. It's going to be real fresh. I'm going to start with a clean slate with those. Um, but I'm really, really enjoying all these, even the ones I was going back and rewatching that I'd already seen. Like, I feel like this is a great series, but I've heard some people talk about the later seasons as it went on that it got bad. So I keep waiting for a bad episode to show up. So, anything else you want to say about Bad Wolf Down, TJ?
No,
Okay. So we'll move on to The Finger, which at first I thought was going to be like the moving finger from the Monsters episode, which is based on a Stephen King story. I thought, are they going to do that again? But no, this
nah,
is
don't repeat yourself.
this is totally different. And I'm going to let TJ talk about this little creature, but I was in love with this creature who is named Bob. Um, so yeah, go ahead, TJ, before I give it all away. Um,
I do. It was directed by Rob Schrab,
mhm.
who's he directed Rick and Morty, and he did he directed some of the Mystery Science Theater season, the second new season. He directed a bunch of those episodes. So anyway,
Oh,
yeah,
I
the
had
finger.
forgotten this does have a Stephen King reference because his son wrote the short story that this is based on. Sorry, TJ, I just had
Oh,
to
it's okay.
bring that up.
Um, there was one. So there's this guy who sort of he starts off telling a story, but he's like, no, let me rewind. Um, so Where are we? Who's the guy?
Talking about Clark
Yeah, DJ Qualls.
Calls.
You know
Yeah.
who he is. He's been in a bunch of stuff. Um, he's from Tennessee. He didn't have an accent. He didn't
No.
have any southern accent that I heard. Um, yeah, so he's sort of this kind of loser. His wife has left him. She had two like older. The daughter looked older than the mother, but that's
Yeah, I know, and that was it's
you don't see the
bizarre.
daughter for that long because she's like older, but it's like it's not part of the story really. It's just like sort of a mention thing.
And they weren't his kids,
Yeah, these
evidently.
are her
This
kids ruining
woman.
the marriage. So it's this kind of guy, like he's not working. He's sort of lazy. His house looks like. I'm surprised there were no. I'm surprised they didn't have roaches in it to reference creeping up on you because
They could have done that.
have some kind of bugs crawling around in it. But um, and he has a habit of walking in L.A. late at night, and he finds junk and he like repurposes it and stuff like that. Um, so he finds his finger. Just this clawed little like gnarly finger just like laying on the ground, and he's like, you don't usually find things like that on a walk. Um, so he brings it back to his house, and it was wrapped in a comic book page, which I thought was funny.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think it was anything specific. There was like a
I
comic
don't recall it being
walk.
specific.
It just didn't look like it was specifically from that episode, but it was just like, huh, that's interesting. It would have been funny if it was like a panel from what was happening in that episode, but
Right.
um, I don't think they didn't want to like. I don't know. People might have groaned at that one. Uh, yeah, and the finger starts growing. First, it grows into a second finger with a little piece of hand on it, and then it grows into a full arm. He puts it in the freezer. He has noises one night. Goes to the freezer, and it's grown into this full little. It's like a little. Looks like a little um, cross between a xenomorph and like a little
It
dinosaur. And
Yeah, it looked kind of like the alien from the Aliens movies, the Alien and Aliens.
like that's a xenomorph.
Okay. Yeah. I was
See,
forget
movies that well, you don't know what a xenomorph. No, I'm kidding.
Sorry about that, TJ. I'm still not 100% on my game yet, but
That's all right.
we
Uh,
were in the same neighborhood.
yes, it reminds me a little bit of the in the Tales from the Dark Side episode that Tom Savini had with the little creature that was in the closet.
Yeah.
It was called Inside the Closet,
Hmm.
which I thought, so it's like a cross between all these, and it's the face kind of reminds me of the Cloverfield monster a little bit,
Right.
but it's like and it like chirps a little bit. It's got this weird makes these weird
And
noises.
and when it's sleeping, it purrs just like a cat.
Yes, so it's probably a cross between several animals, but anyway. Um, So anyway, he's been yelling about. He like complains out loud about his ex-wife, and
Mhm.
she's a bitch, and her children were terrible, and and he keeps getting calls from a telemarketer. It was like, you, I'm a debt collector, and you owe money, blah blah blah. And I'm like, I have gotten those calls, and they pretend they're not debt collectors. I don't ever remember them
Yeah,
actually.
they don't ever say, we're debt collectors.
Because you're not going to answer the phone if you say.
Right.
But anyway, um, the creature grows. It's gone for one night, and it comes back, and he goes. It sleeps in a little freezer. I guess it likes the cold.
Hmm.
And he notices blood, and he notices a heart on his kitchen table, and he's like, "Uh oh!" And he's been yapping about his ex-wife.
Yeah.
And then some cops come to the door. Your ex-wife is missing. We don't know what happened to her. Um, and then
I did want to say I liked how they did that scene because at first, when I was first watching, I was like, did he just close the door on the cops? But it's like breaking the fourth wall type of thing. And he was like, that went on for 20 or so minutes. So I just love the way that stuff
Yeah,
was shot.
it's a funny episode too.
Mm.
I think most of the gore is just for gore's sake. It's not really supposed to be like a scary episode. Um, then again, when you first see the creature, it's like that's creepy ass looking creature. Um, and then was he what? Oh, then he's walking down the street one day. Um, at a, he's walking and there's a stop sign and he walks into the street. This guy in a truck almost hits him and they have this fight. And he's
Mm.
like fuck you, fucking.
Yeah.
And the guy has little like uh, hanging from the back of his truck are metal balls,
Yeah.
but they're shaped like men genitalia
Yep.
ball type of.
Yes, they are.
Here we go. Uh, I gotta get my medical terms out there. And the next day, after the creature, Bob is the creature. He asks him, "Do you like Bob? Bob?" And he's like, "Yeah, that's a good name." He doesn't talk, but so it's like he's a little pet.
Yeah.
But so anyway, yeah. The next day, the next night or whatever, he notices the thing, the balls from the back of the truck, but also the truck driver's actual balls.
Yep.
And he's made a habit of so he tries to get rid of the heart earlier, but the creature brings it back, sort of like
Yeah.
fed. So he starts using the garbage disposal to dispose of the body parts. So he's getting rid of the balls, and he's like, I had to look it up to find out if these could be if they could be like ground up into the sewage and whatever. And he's next thing he finds is a tongue,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, how did from the telemarketer woman, and he's like, I wonder how he found the woman, and then we see a shot of the creature has wings
Yeah,
now.
imagines him flying to get this person.
So this creature is like, when he's gonna get his way, he's gonna help his I guess his owner now. I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Meanwhile, the cops keep coming back because the cops come back again because the two kids are missing. The two his two ex children,
Stepchildren, I guess, or whatever you want to
ex
call them.
stepchildren are now dead, and the creature has brought their heads back to the house.
Mm-hmm.
So he decides to put them in the garbage disposal, and he gets it was a wrench or a hammer, and he just starts. Earlier, he didn't have anything covering him, so he had a little blood on him. So when the cops come at the first time, they're like, "Yeah, what's that on your shirt there?" It's like, "Oh, it's sauce."
Yeah.
I was making some bolognese and I got it on me.
It's
So now at the end where he's bashing the heads into the sink, trying to dispose of them in the
it
garbage.
clearly looks like he's murdered somebody.
He's wearing plastic now. He's learned to cover himself while he's doing this. Meanwhile, we see the lights of the cops have figured out where he was. They arrest him. He's in a padded room. Is this what gave you the idea for the padded room?
No, I thought about that before.
Okay. So he's in a padded room and he's sort of like despondent and sort of like because the creature he's like he's gone and he loves me. He'll be back. I know it. So he's talking to us, the audience.
Mm.
And then he's sort of staring out the window, and then you hear the creature making its little noises, and then he turns to the camera and it goes, "See?" Oh, he doesn't say "see," but he goes, "He loves me." Now you don't know if the guy's really crazy and he killed all those people, or there actually is a monster.
And that he was saying it was a delusion, that Bob was a
Yeah.
delusion. But
So
I would like to
no
think Bob was
explain
real.
the ending that way.
Mm. Here's something I wish somebody would make Bob, like where you could buy him, because I would buy that damn thing.
Find out
So
the pattern, and I know some people who own 3D printers. We can print out our own
there we go.
creature.
Yep. We have 3D printers at the Smile Doctors clinics, but they use them to make retainers and stuff. That's,
Oh, that makes
that's
sense.
what they use now. Who would ever thought we would be using 3D printers to do that? I actually have, I don't know if I've showed this. Speaking of 3D printers, when I was working for the library system here in Louisville, I made this with the program that was on the
Oh,
3D
that's
printer.
cool.
So I made this little octopus.
I wonder if that's how I'm gonna make the crown for my tooth that I'm gonna get next Wednesday.
Oh man, you got to get a crown.
Yeah, and I have a tooth on the bottom that's broken, and I have to take ibuprofen twice a day because it hurts when I wake up and it hurts when I go to bed. Um,
Yep.
so I'm like, great. Can you work on that tooth while we're working on the top tooth, maybe?
I feel for you, TJ, because I've had a lot of dental work done. A
Yeah,
lot.
when I was getting, so they have to do a temporary before they do the actual put the crown on. So while they were drilling up here, they had the little water thing in my and it kept hitting this tooth in the back that hurts, and then I was like,
Oh,
can we not do this? Could we do something else? So they had to put like gauze on my other tooth on the bottom to like so it wouldn't get all
to shield it a little bit.
yeah. And I'm like, I wish I was like, could you just do that tooth? And like they didn't want to do it. Okay. Well, you're gonna get the money out of me eventually.
And I'm sure, TJ, you take the best care of your teeth that you can,
I
like
tried.
brushing and flossing and all that business. So we're going to get back to the episodes, but since TJ brought up I just wish that Steve, my dear husband, would understand that no matter how well you take care of your teeth, sometimes people just have problems, or sometimes people just have bad teeth. My mom lost well, she started losing all of her teeth. They would just break out. And she brushed her teeth and flossed and did all the things. But she was in this restaurant eating a hamburger. There wasn't anything hard in the hamburger, and her tooth just fell out. I mean, and so she eventually just had, she said, just pull the rest of them, and she got dentures. I mean, that's how bad my mom's teeth were. So I may have a little bit of the genetics from her.
Yeah, this hereditary stuff with teeth.
I tried to tell Steve that, but he just doesn't.
You know the worst part about that is teeth and like um what else is it? Teeth and anyway, teeth and something I can't remember what it, but it's just as far as medically, teeth are very important. I mean, like if you, even if you get all your teeth replaced, it's going to cost you money whether you get dentures or whether you get implants or whatever.
Yeah,
And dental either covers a very small percentage or it just covers two cleanings and that's it. Unless you have like unless you work for a really huge company that can afford like
yeah.
it's funny right before so when COVID happened, I lost my job because they were downsizing because they didn't need any work and I lost my full-time job after 8 years. Thanks a lot. I won't say who they were because I might get sued. But anyway, but I was like, but like it covered like 70 to 80% of most procedures, like crowns and
Yeah.
teeth, and like right as I was like thinking, all right, and I didn't have a dentist for a few years, and I finally was like, all right, I need to get a dentist. And as I was getting this dentist, COVID happened, and I
Mm.
was like, well, damn, now I have to pay for all that work.
Well,
Like I have a tooth that needs to be replaced completely. Like I have a gap in here, which sucks because it caused my front teeth to sort of move, which really
cause it
annoys me.
starts
Like,
shifting. Yeah,
it's like, but if you just get regular insurance, like you buy it off of whatever, or you work for a smaller company, dental insurance sucks.
yep.
And like you need your
Something.
teeth. I'm sorry, you need them to live.
Yeah. Now, something else, and I talk so much you wouldn't believe it. I have a small mouth. You would think I had a gigantic mouth,
Shut up, no.
but I have a very small mouth, like just like my dad. And we both have trouble when extensive dental work has got to be done because they can't, it feels like they're putting their whole hand in our mouths, and they have gagged me and everything else since I moved to Louisville. I was sick for about a week and a half after I had a procedure done with one of the dentists here in Louisville. And I told them, I said, I don't know what y'all did, but I said I was sick for a week and a half. And you know what they tried to say? Oh, well, you must have had stomach flu or something. I wanted to say, no, I didn't have any damn stomach flu. You guys tortured me for hours, hours. And this woman dentist cannot pull teeth. She's a real petite woman. You know, most dentists, they'll pull them out and they'll pop right out. I've had a tooth pulled before, but when I moved here and went to that dentist, she would be like pulling and yanking on it, and then she'd say, "I gotta cut it out." And then she said, "You're gonna have to stay still. I want to let you up, honey, but you're bleeding all over the place. I gotta stitch you up." So here I am suffering, and I still gotta lay back in that chair and let her stitch me up so I don't bleed out all over the place.
Was she a dental surgeon, or did you have to go somewhere else to have it taken out?
Well, one of the teeth they worked on, they thought they were going to have to send me to an oral surgeon because she said, "I'll give it one more try." And I was thinking to myself, for the love of God, please get this tooth out. And it finally, she got it out. But oh my gosh. And the one girl that was her assistant just gagged me. And like I told him, I said, I have a very small mouth. I said, so I have a hell of a gag reflex. And she just keeps shoving those uh,
Sure.
screens or she keeps shoving this in the back of my mouth, and I'm sitting here gagging. I thought, you keep doing this, woman, I'm going to vomit all over you because she just kept shoving it back there. And so, but enough dental talk. We'll make TJ all upset before he has to go.
That's okay. I was telling a story earlier. That was the same thing. I had a tooth that needed to be extracted, and he just couldn't get it out, and it just started breaking down into like,
Mm-hmm.
and he could only get. And then 3 hours I was sitting there. I was there so long that they had to keep giving me Novocaine because it kept wearing off because
Yeah,
of.
that's what they had to do with me too.
So it like 3 hours, and I was just like, and I was in pain a lot of it too because I just wanted to get it over with. So I was like, "Fuck the Novocaine." I just
Yeah,
want.
I wouldn't tell them it was hurting. I was just like,
So
get this
eventually,
out.
after all that time, a little bit more than 3 hours, they're like, "Well, we can't do this," and I'm like, "Thanks so freaking much." So they sent me up. The dental surgeon was like up the street, so they sent me right there. He went in, do do do, and he was out in like under 30 seconds, and I was like, "Why didn't those motherfuckers just do this in the first place?"
Yeah, instead of torturing you for
Yeah,
hours.
yeah. Anyway,
But
All Hallows Eve. We're finally up to that episode.
yes, we are up to All Hallows Eve, which fantastic episode. This is one of my favorite episodes, actually. But Darcy is complaining at the gate between the kitchen and the living room. So I'm going to let TJ go ahead and start talking. And I'm going to let her back here.
Okay. All Hallows Eve, directed by David Bruckner, which I was like, oh, how did they get him for this show? Um, so we have these four kids who are trick or treating. Um, they're waiting for one of the older kids' younger brother. Um, the girl's dressed as a witch. She's not wearing a hat, but she's got a broom, and she's. I thought she was just a goth chick, but and then another one is dressed. The sort of leader of the kids is dressed as sort of like he's dressed as Charlie Chaplin basically, without the mustache. He's got
Mm.
the little bowler hat, I think that's what it is, and he has like the little suit on. And I was like, oh, he's being. I was like, I guess if he had the mustache, they would think he was Hitler. I don't know what the. Another kid's dressed as a devil.
Yeah.
And then their third friend, who they meet after they're walking a little bit, he's got a skeleton hoodie, basically, which I thought hoodie was cool. I was like,
Yeah, I liked it.
it's a lame costume. Like one time, a few times when I was giving candy out to kids, they'd come in just a hoodie, and I'm like, I don't care if it has little eyes on the side of it, kids. Do something a little bit more creative with your damn costume. And these are like the older kids who are like they just wanted the candy. They didn't give a crap
Oh,
about
yeah.
it.
I had kids that didn't even attempt to dress up, just to give me candy.
Yeah. Anyway, they're a little gang, I guess. They have a name called the Golden Dragon, and I'm thinking,
Yeah.
Do they sell Chinese food? That sounds like the Golden Dragon.
It does.
Either they sell Chinese food or their fathers are members of the KKK. But anyway, isn't that what the isn't that in Porky's 2 when the clan comes? I think like the Golden Dragons or some. Isn't that what
Oh
they call the
gosh,
head?
I can't
The Golden,
remember.
I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna stop talking about the those evil people who should all die. Anyway, sorry if anybody has members in the clan in their family. If you do, then don't talk
Uh,
to me.
I don't, thank
Don't
God.
talk to me. Anyway, this is all jokes, people. Calm down. It's not serious. Anyway, um, meanwhile, we see one woman looks out the window and sees him and pulls the shade down. And I'm like, oh, they're like,
Yeah.
they don't look like tough punks, but they're up to something. So they start seeing the local families, and they sort of rag them for what they're giving them. One guy gives out like little lollipops, and they're like, "Hey,
This
man,
is all you got? Yeah.
yeah, all you got. We come here every year, and you should have better candy for us." And they're like sort of the people are afraid of them, but you really can't tell why. They're
Right.
joking with the people and sort of intimidating them, but like not too overtly. And the kid who's dressed as Charlie Chaplin seems to be a little bit more like, "Calm down, guys," because one of them, the one
Right.
dressed as the skeleton, is sort of a little bit more abrasive. Um, and the guy dressed as Satan is a little too, but the girl and the other dude are a little bit more like
Right. They're a little more reserved.
reasonable. Yeah. And then the next one is then they come to this other house where the woman has um, answers the door and she has no candy, and they just walk in, and I was like, "What's going on?" Because she's like scared, but like she's not pushing them away. Anyway, they walk in and she has muffins ready for them. And they're like, "Oh, good, they got some good stuff for us." And then one of the guys like, "I don't like." They're like blueberry muffins. He's like, "I don't like blueberry muffins."
But
"Do
then
you
he
have anything
takes
else
a
for us?"
bunch when they leave.
Yeah. So, "Do you have anything else for us?" And the father comes in. The husband comes in and says, um, "You're intimidating us, and you come here every year, and you why don't you stop?" And blah blah blah. You know, like what is going on here? And they sort of mention something like something that has happened in the past,
Mm.
maybe. And we're not sure what's going on. Then they come to this other woman's house, who it's a very dark. She won't answer the door, so they just sort of barge in, and she's sitting there with a shotgun.
Yep.
And they're like, "What are you gonna do? Shoot us?" And one of the guys gets like really in close to her and like, "We're looking for your son." Um, she's like, "What?" He's like, "What are you gonna do? Shoot us?" And he moves his head right to the gun. She backs off. The son comes out, Billy Bob. I don't know, remember his name. What was his name? Billy.
Is it Eddie?
Maybe it was Eddie. Yes, that's it. They go in there looking for Eddie. Bobby was the kid dressed in the skeleton costume.
Mm-hmm.
So he and his other friends had done something because there's somebody else said the husband earlier said something about
First it was so and so's kid, and then it was
that
somebody
those
else.
kids are something happened to those kids. So I guess the other people they visit, each of their kids had something to do with something,
Mm-hmm.
which we still don't know of at this point. So anyway, they finally get the kid. He gets the gun. He tries to shoot them. It doesn't work, and they're like, "You have to pay for what you did." And he's like, "It wasn't me. It was all the other guys." And then we flash back to when they were, which I thought they're playing D&D, and just and looking at them, I'm like, this is very like Stranger Things.
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit.
There's like a girl and there's black kid, and then there's
Mm-hmm.
the other two kids, and then there's the younger kid. And I was
You
like,
know what else it was like? Like it.
that's good too, yeah. Or
Mhm.
Monster Squad, since we were talking about that earlier.
Monster Squad, yeah.
So anything with kids, but they were playing D&D, so that made me think more of of
Stranger Things.
Stranger Things because in those other movies they're not playing D&D, and I was like, oh, that's cool. Even though I used to play D&D with these people, and then I started working where my schedule was happening when they were playing D&D, so that I stopped playing, and then when my schedule changed again, I was left out. So I have
Oh.
not played D&D for a while. Anyway, Very upset about that. I still hold a grudge. Anyway,
Did you ever see that movie, Mazes and Monsters, by the way?
yeah.
Which didn't it like piss you off? I bet it did since you played D&D.
I
So
mean, not every movie is going to piss me off about D and D, but I mean,
well, that one was a little, over the top. That
yeah,
it seemed like all kids that played those kind of games was going to go into a nether world and be insane or whatever and never come back.
it is D and D. Uh, look what happened. They were playing D and D in um, Dream Warriors
That's right. Yeah.
when they're all in the bedroom and Taryn, she's like, "I'm going to bed. Screw you guys in your game."
Right.
So yeah, so we flash back to um, Eddie and all his friends um, lit the treehouse on fire because they were just trying to scare the kids. But the
But
door,
that's very malicious, though. Why would you light a fire
yeah,
anyway?
that made, regardless of how they would have been able to get out in time, but regardless of whether it's a joke. And I was like, and they're all dressed like death metal band members with the white makeup with the black streaks and everything like that. I was like, what is this? What are we in Norway now? We have the Norwegian death metal band here. Um, it was like a cross between Norwegian death metal and like um, the Karate Kid with the
All
gang, the
right.
karate guys. Anyway,
You know what else I thought this episode was like a little bit? Not trick or treat, but trick or treat.
right? Because the little brother is dressed. Oh, I forgot the little brother. They finally find the little brother, and he's dressed as a ghost. And there's a point where um, with Eddie, where he lifts the ghost costume off, and his face is all charred and bloody, and like it was just burnt to the skull, and he put
Yeah.
the thing back on. And then later we find out about the fire, and I was like, wow, these kids, and the kids got away with it. I think those kids should have all been in like juvenile hall.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, and it's not like it was like 30 years later. Seems like it was like a couple of years later or something like that.
Right.
Because they had gone, they come to I guess they've come to get revenge. Because a lot of the hinting stuff that they do in the episode, they say stuff like, "This has got to be the last year. We won't do it again. We won't have to worry about this anymore." Blah blah blah. So I'm guessing this guy is the last guy of the
Mm.
gang. Um, So anyway, we flash forward and they basically light up a fire. He's screaming in terror, and I was like, well, you kind of deserve it. So this is
Yeah.
a Buffett's story, definitely. Um,
Yeah.
and then they all go back to the cemetery and walk back to their graves. The girl in the Charlie Chaplin dress dude kiss. So I'm gonna guess they had some little like relationship that never
Relation.
really got to flourish because they died too young um, and then we finally see the little boy. He takes off his the brother takes off his ghost costume and he's back to
He's
looking
this
normal.
sweet little boy.
Yeah. The poor little kid. He doesn't get any lines either. He doesn't even get like
Mm.
"Thanks, big brother" or some weird line like that. It was like, aw. Um, oh, I forgot. When they first come to one of the houses, they're holding up a voodoo doll, and it's the voodoo doll from the Creepshow
Yes.
with little Billy in the Creepshow doll that he kills Tom Atkins with. Which I thought that was great because it looks exactly like the doll and everything. Oh, and in the beginning of the episode, the creep is carving pumpkins when
Hmm.
a trick or treater at the door, and a trick or treater's like swears at him, and he comes in, and then with the knives all bloody, and then he messes around with the jack o' lantern, turns it around, and the face has real teeth in the mouth and real eyes, and I thought,
Glass.
I forgot to mention that part. Yeah, and anyway, it ends with them going back to their graves, possibly for the last time, and they can sleep and go back to heaven or hell. I don't know. I guess.
I, I would guess they're at some kind of rest now because they got their revenge. So,
And it reminded me a little bit of the Tales from the Crypt movie.
hmm.
No, it was Vault of Horror. The Vault of Horror,
Oh, right. Yeah.
where they're in a cemetery and then they walk slowly to their graves.
Hmm.
No, that was. Wait a minute. Which is the one? Yeah, that was it. in Tales from the Crypt, they go into a pit of fire. That's what happened.
Okay.
This one, they
It's
walk
been
off.
a while since I've seen those, so
They walk off into their graves, and there's a nice little superimposing of. Oh no! Earlier when they're the episode's over. I'm going back. Earlier when they tie the kid up to the tree and they're gonna light him on fire, all their faces turned into like skeletons, but like
yeah.
um, that looked cool because they shadowed it and they fogged it up a little bit so you didn't see it clearly. But earlier when they show the kids um, in the treehouse, the little embers were so CGI. It just kind of
Oh yeah, those
it's like,
were.
are they trying to make this into a cartoon? I mean, it didn't work, but I was like, eh. That's where I was like, they this is where they um, I guess they could have really used real fire, but it's just it looks so cheesy fake. And
Mhm.
this episode wasn't like comic book panel heavy.
Right.
So anyway, but other than that, yeah, it's another good episode.
Yeah, this is another one of my favorites. At least out of the ones we've covered. Because I thought it really had that Creepshow EC Comics feel
Yeah,
to it. Because it was, the people that done this bad thing, they get their comeuppance. And so that fully follows that formula. And Darcy thought she was going to get some of my M&Ms. Is what she thought she was going to do, didn't you? You did, but anyway, really good episode. Now we're going to, unless TJ, you got anything else to say about All Hallows Eve?
D&D straight now. Um, I'm good. Oh, I did. What was I want to say about it? Oh, like 5 minutes into it, I'm like, are they ghosts? And damned if I wasn't right.
I think it took me a little longer than 5 minutes the first time I watched it, um,
When
but
they started talking about stuff from the past and they weren't being specific, they weren't using specific words, I was like, oh, they gotta be, are they dead or something? And I
yeah.
wasn't sure, but I was like, they got it, something like that. Uh,
And I feel like as it goes along, it becomes apparent at one point
yeah.
in the story that that's what's going on here. Um, so the last episode or the last story we're gonna talk about tonight is the man in the suitcase. Now, this is the one I was talking about. The first time I watched it, I absolutely hated it. I hated all the people in it. I hated the story. I thought it was stupid. I actually liked it this time around. And there were only two characters that I disliked. The original guy that we see, the original kid, young man, whatever you want to call him. Um,
The main character?
I liked him.
Oh, I thought you said you didn't. Oh, okay.
I didn't like any of them the first time around, but upon rewatching it, I was like, he wasn't so bad. But the other two were assholes all
He
the
had a
way.
conscience. The other two were money grubbing little.
Exactly.
The girl break. Well, I'm cutting ahead, but the girl breaks up with him, and then she finds a reason to not be with him. It's like,
But I was like, how can these people be that evil? The other two. But we'll get to that. But the man in the suitcase, I have a new appreciation for this episode. I actually liked it this time around. Thought it was a great, comeuppance story. I thought the right people got their comeuppance.
yeah.
And the way it happens I thought was fantastic this time around. So I'm going to let TJ go ahead and start talking about the man in the suitcase, and I'm going to get me some more caffeine so I don't fall asleep here. But I'll be right back.
I think it would have been funny if it was named Man in the Suitcase and then it was a girl in a duffel bag. That would have been funny, but only to me. Anyway, so, 'cause that wasn't what the title said. Anyway, um, so we have a dude who's um, coming back from the. He's in the airport. He's coming back from a trip. Um, he's talking to. I think he's talking to his girlfriend or his ex girlfriend. No, I forget. He's talking to somebody. I can't remember. I just watched this like literally like right before the stream. Anyway, he's talking to somebody. He's like, "Yeah, I'm at the airport." I think he's talking to his ex girlfriend. He's like, "I'm at the airport, whatever. Um, what are you doing there?" And I was doing stuff, blah blah blah. It's some story that really isn't part of what's going on. Anyway, and then sort of all the lights go out, and the conveyor belt stops moving, and everybody has taken their bags. He's still waiting for his bag. Then he goes to do something, and then his bag sort of pops down. And he's like, "Oh, okay." And he goes and grabs his bag, and as he's leaving, the conveyor belt starts moving around again, and we see clothes, and then we see uh, which I guess was his real suitcase that's ripped open at the bottom, and it's like
Mhm.
I don't know if something was crawling in or crawling out or whatever, but it looks weird. So obviously that wasn't his suitcase that he took. Um, he accidentally calls his ex girlfriend, who's broken up with him and because he doesn't have ambition and he's not, he's like a slacker type of kid. He has no ambition. He doesn't want to do anything. She doesn't want to be stuck with a person like that. Blah blah blah. Um, he gets back to the his apartment, um, and he hears some weird noises coming out of the suitcase. And he opens up, and there's a guy, sort of like pretzeled in. His like leg is up here,
Looks very
his
painful.
arms are here, and one arm is over there. His other foot's over there. Um, and his head's like turned to the other side. That's why he couldn't talk well because his head was stuck into the side of the suitcase. So he's like, "Get my head around, and I can see you." So he turns the guy's head around. He's like, "Oh," and he's like, "How did you get in this suitcase?" And he's like, "Some people have put me in here. They're after me, whatever. Would you help me get out of the suitcase?" So the guy's like a little apprehensive at first, but he's like, "Yeah, all right," because he seems like an okay kid. He's like, he's gonna help him um, get out of the suitcase. Oh, earlier after he comes home, I guess his girlfriend had written a note for him on his Chinese food. He opens up this Chinese food container and it says
Oh
like
yeah.
"suck a dick" or something like that. I forget what it was. It's like whoever it was not happy about him. So anyway, he tries to help the guy out of the suitcase, and he's trying to pull his leg out, and the guy's is in really bad pain, and he just can't get it. He all of a sudden spits something out, and the kid finds this little gold like coin, like a
Uh-huh.
doubloon or whatever, and he's like, What is this from?" And "Is that from you?" And the guy's like, "When I'm in pain, I spit out these gold coins." So he's trying to take the guy out of the suitcase, but he's like, "Oh, maybe we'll do this. We'll try to do it later." And he's like, "Well, people are after you. I got to get you out." But he's sort of like wishy washy about it. He's like, "All right, we'll worry about this in the morning." Um, he falls asleep, sees a suitcase. He thinks it's a dream. Oh, at first he has a dream about him being stuck in the suitcase and not being able to get out. And then he wakes up and he just sees the suitcase on the ground. He's like, "Oh, it's a dream." And then he sees the coin next to his bed on the night table. And he realizes it really happened. And he gets the coin appraised. He finds out it's worth a lot of money. Um, then we get introduced to his roommate,
Who's
who,
a major dick, by the
yes,
way.
he starts off as a dick. He continues that trait and he keeps it going. Uh, and he's like, "Yeah, well, what am I here for?" They're having some kind of burger and whatever and fries. Um, he's like, he told him about the coin, and he's like, "Well, if you had this coin, that guy's like screwed you. You could have gotten more out of it. It was worth more than that." Um, he's like, "People just take advantage of you, like with your girlfriend." And he makes a comment about, "Yeah, she's something," and then he's looking at him weird, like, "Why are you talking about my ex girlfriend in that weird way?"
Right.
And anyway, he's like, "Yeah, you just let people walk all over you," and he grabs a French fry from the guy and starts eating it. And I was like, "Yeah, like you, I see, you dick." And he starts like, you can tell right just by that he's this guy is not going to be a likable character. Um, so he takes him back. Um, um, Does the girlfriend come back, or did they go into the house? No, they go back to the
Well,
house.
she's going to get her stuff. She was going to clean her stuff out.
Right, but after they're eating. Do they go? They go back to the house and then they see the ex girlfriend. Is that what happened? Right.
I think so. I think so.
Um. So they. Um. Yeah, because
Because she thinks that he's murdered somebody.
Because do they already? No. Damn it! Give me a sec. I'm sorry. Give me a sec. Oh, I have to watch this. I'm on Shutter. I want to look up the episode. Dario Argento's. I want to watch this. Panico.
Oh, it's good. Me
Oh,
and
have you seen
me
it?
and Steve watched it. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to. I want to watch that. They just added Inferno. I like Inferno. Some people don't.
I don't hate it, but it's for me it's the weakest of Argento's really good stuff.
But visually, it's really good, and I like
Yeah, visually it's fantastic.
even though it's ridiculous, the whole underwater scene is cool. Yes, okay, that's what happens. Yeah, they go back to first he's like he asks him, where did you find the coin, and he's like, oh, I found it in a suitcase, which is technically true.
Yeah.
So they go back to the apartment building. um, the ex-girlfriend runs out. You killed somebody. She's screaming. They bring her into the house. They find the guy. He's alive. They find out that you hurt the guy, and he spits out coins, and the roommate decides to go a step further, and he really adds on the pain to the dude, and until he stops.
Basically torturing this
Yeah,
poor guy.
he starts torturing him, and then the girl's like, "Stop, stop!" But then when she realizes how much money is coming out of this guy, she's all of a sudden, "This is a great idea." And I was like, "You
Yeah.
want to break up with this guy and never see him again? All of a sudden, he's great, and you want to stay with him because he has a guy who can spit out
And
coins?"
she was thinking that he murdered somebody, and all of a sudden
Yeah,
she changes her tune. All of a sudden,
yeah. For a couple, like for a minute, she puts on like a shocked face, but then look at it, like he spits up like a whole
he
like a
sprays out these
yeah.
gold
It's like
coins.
he had like a full dinner with dessert and a little appetizer afterwards, and he spewed it all out, but it was in coins. Is that a good way to describe that?
Thank goodness it was coins and not
Yeah, well, they
somebody
got to
really
preserve
being
everything
sick.
else in the stomach for some reason. Um, so even the main kid is sort of like, he's not into it at first, but he's like, okay, but for 48 hours, and him and his roommate shake, okay, 48 hours, we'll get as much out of this guy as we can, and then we'll get him out of the suitcase or whatever. So they just torture the crap out of him. They start trying to pull him out. They throw him down the stairs. Um, um,
They put like I guess battery charging
yeah, that's like the big
cables.
thing they do is they put the
Yeah,
battery charger against him. So anyway, and then while they're getting all these coins out of from torturing him, they're getting clothes and new jackets and buying a bunch of stuff and whatever. And then we see the girl has coins on her stomach because she's having sex with her ex-boyfriend. No, she's having sex with the roommate. So that earlier comment when they were having food,
yeah,
he sampled the tasty girlfriend, I'm gonna guess.
yeah. He sampled the goods already.
They were probably doing that before, which is probably another reason they broke up. But eventually he was gonna find out. But anyway, so yeah, they eventually attach a battery to him, and they're shocking him to get these coins, and they're getting like all these coins, and the roommate's like, "You're gonna be able to get a car. We're gonna be able to move to France. We're gonna be able to buy anything we'll ever want," and blah blah blah. And he's like, "No, we can't torture him like that," because the guy's like, "I'm gonna die," and he seems to want to die, the guy in the suitcase, but they're like, yeah, we're just gonna keep doing it. And he's like, no, you're gonna kill him. I don't want that. So he's trying to stop them.
Mm-hmm.
The girl grabs like a wrench or something, smashes the boyfriend in the head.
Yeah, she's meaning to kill him.
Yeah, she at first she does one of those things where she's shocked. I'm sure she's just shocked, like because of the blood, not necessarily
Yeah,
what she did.
right.
And she's giving him one of those "What have I done?" looks. But then she's like, "Fuck this!" and she's gonna hit him again.
Mm-hmm.
He ends up falling down the stairs, and they think he's dead. So they go back to trying to torture the dude, and he's like, yeah, do whatever you want. And then he starts laughing, and his eyes turn like they start glowing, and he starts
Yeah.
demonically laughing. And he turns into this like um, gi- giant like heavy metal. One of those heavy metal monsters that were in the '80s heavy metal posters type of
I guess he was what, a djinn? Is that what he
I guess he
was?
is. He looks sort of like the genie from Aladdin type of thing.
I mean, that's what they call him in the little
Yeah,
booklet.
but they never say that in the episode.
No,
And he doesn't grant wishes. He just
right.
gives out gold coins when there's pain. But anyway, he looked like a djinn, but it's not specified. So do what you will with that information. Uh, and so it's down to the roommate and the girlfriend, and um, he turns into this monster, and
Tells them how evil and stuff they
yeah,
are.
yeah. But they're the evil ones. Yeah,
Hmm.
and and then we get those the backgrounds, swirly backgrounds behind them, like like
Yeah,
in Father's Day with the and all that stuff.
right.
Or it's too bad. I like the one with Gigi Marshall that just spun around,
Right. Yeah.
which back then was done with an actual thing behind him that spun around. Now it's CGI, but it's like I like the kind of craftiness of the original. But anyway, I still like that they do the still do the comic book panels, and they do the visual stuff that is very Creepshow. Um,
Right.
anyway, um, and then he like makes two suitcases appear out of nowhere. Um,
And then he's got a whole bunch of them at the airport, which is
yeah,
he's got more than two. So I took that to mean that this guy was going around collecting evil people and
he was
putting
testing
them in
people to see what
suits.
kind of people they were. We found out the main kid is not dead. He wakes up in the hospital the next morning. His eyes all like swollen and his head's all wrapped up. And there's a flowers and a note saying something like, "Thank you for what you did. If you ever need something, let me know, and I'll be there to help you." So he's sort of helping them, helping the saying, um, uh, "You were a good kid, unlike your friends."
Yeah, exactly.
And now he's at the airport. He's like, "This is my luggage," and the woman is very like devious, like, "Oh, you're one of our best customers," and she's doing,
Yeah,
"You're one of our best customers.
we
Anything,
take care of our loyal
yeah,
customers.
anything you need is good with us." Um, which I have to think about airports right now, but that's a different story. And and you see the suitcases, and with the two, the roommate, and they're on the conveyor belt, and you hear them both, the girl and the dude, screaming, and it goes off, and he does one of those devious smiles, and
Right.
I was like, "Hey, this is a fun episode. Nobody died."
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why I didn't like it the first time around. I don't know if I wasn't paying attention. I was catching snippets of it, but as I watched it for the second time, I
Yeah,
was like, this isn't bad. And you get to see the cool, whatever you want to call it, at the end that gets the bad people. And it was refreshing to discover that the main guy wasn't so bad. He wasn't bad at all when you compared him with the other two. They were the bad ones.
yeah.
So you did have somebody to root for. You did have the original kid, or he's a kid to me because I'm getting old now.
By the
But
way, so when she hits him on the head with the wrench, and the blood just comes out from under his probably wig, and it just rolls down his face. So I don't know if you're. So back in the '90s, there was a wrestler called Papa Shango, and
Oh, yeah, yeah,
he was a voodoo priest type of
yeah.
thing. And one of the fake was so fake that they did was he would do voodoo spells on people, and you'd have a wrestler come out with like a long hair but like with a hat on, and then all of a sudden like stuff would come pouring out of their face. And they did that with like the Ultimate Warrior, where like out of his hair it was just like this
Uh-huh.
black slime coming out of his face. And I was
I
like,
think I remember that
it was
actually.
just so goofy because I'm like, you're really trying to push this character, and it's just like it's so stupid. And it's like, oh, you have a black guy and all you can think of is a voodoo thing. That's a little kind of lame, guys. I mean, come on. Anyway,
Oh, how long did that character last in
I don't know,
wrestling?
like a year or two maybe.
Surprised it lasted that
That was
long.
the '90s where they were doing all these weird, like they were
Mm.
trying to do these weird. They had like the Repo Man, whereas the guy was like a thief and he was dressed up in a thief costume with the mask on, and um, well, I could do a whole another. I think the Dead Pit guys should do a whole thing about
Yeah,
weird
they could
'90s
do
characters.
that.
They had Lex Luger as the narcissist and Mr. Perfect, which Mr. Perfect had the character for a while, but even that guy kind of got lame. And there was the Million Dollar Man, but that was more the '80s into the '90s, and he was just sort of, who wants to see somebody who has all the money in the world doing anything they want? Like, do the
Right,
people
exactly.
watching WWF can relate to this? That's so stupid. Then again, somebody became president just because they had a TV show and some money. Anyway, but
Yep.
they had less money than they said they did. We'll check their IRS. Anyway, but yeah, these were the first 3 episodes, or technically first 6 episodes. I think were
Yeah.
fun. Um,
I do too. And I'm glad that I went back and rewatched them, regardless of us doing this show or these streams. But probably if we didn't pick this to do, I probably would have never went back and watched The Man in the Suitcase again. Therefore, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to force myself to watch it again
yeah,
so that I could realize that, hey, this story is not bad.
funny
Blissful
story is
says,
you probably watched it and you didn't really notice about the guy, the first guy. You probably
probably not.
only saw the stuff where he was sort of being bad, but then But anyway, I'm glad you
Uh,
did because you said before, oh, that was the episode I didn't like, and I was like, oh, well, I'm gonna hate if I like it. It's gonna suck if I have to.
no, it would have been fine, even if you like, because I don't think we've been too off the mark with as far as one of us really, really hating something and one of us really liking it.
Yeah, we've
We've
never had a
usually-
crazy argument about anything.
Oh, I wouldn't argue with you about it. I just have to say, we'll have to agree to disagree on it, TJ.
I don't think this is supposed to do that.
Oops.
Well, it's like, how old is this book? It's probably
Oh,
like,
they're old.
I won't say when I got it, but it was new when I got it. Not that it was new, like I got it when it originally came out, but I got it later.
Right, right. Yeah, mine was new for the time period that I got it. I mean,
Though I didn't do what I said earlier. It just should have been in a plastic bag and uh, backed and with a board.
well, I don't know that one that cost you like $20. You might have to put it in a gold sleeve or
I
something.
got that one for Christmas.
Oh, okay.
I didn't have to pay for this one. My friend
Oh,
gave it to
cool.
me. My
But
friend was a big fan of Night of the Demons.
mm, Blixel says one of her friends got voodoo dolls from New Orleans, and they creeped her out. Yeah, those voodoo dolls are pretty creepy. And Caddy said she adored the little Bob critter. I did too. I was absolutely in love. I want one of those as a pet.
Like a cuddly plush version of them.
Yeah, somebody please, get the copyright and make that thing.
Oh, no. They should get a company for Dead Pit, and they should do, you know how they did the plushy um, um, Joe Spinell? They should do a plushy
Well,
Dead Pit.
they could. Well, I've had my Joe Bob and Darcy on here that they could even make it sounds and they could make that
Which one of
noise
those
and the
would you like
purring
your
sound.
little cuddly Uncle Bill to wear on to put in your bedroom?
Well, I know what Steve would be like if there was a Uncle Bill and CK plushies. Steve would be like, "Those aren't coming anywhere near me." He'd say, "You can keep them in the back, this back room back here," but he would say they're not coming in the living room. They're definitely not coming in our bedroom. And I don't think I'd want anything that had likeness of my friends in my bedroom anyway. I feel like they were staring at me all the time.
I mean, they sort of look like the people.
Right.
I mean, I got Joe Bob right here. Hey, Dana, thanks for Patreon. And you don't do it for anybody else. Thank you. Bye.
Do you have Darcy as well, or you just have Joe Bob?
Yeah, she's in the other room.
Ah, okay. You don't have them together?
No, I was doing something and they got separated. I got Michael Myers though. Hello.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't talk, but I do now. Hello.
But
Anyway,
this was a story for us anyway, and I'm including myself in it. This people want to blame TJ all the time, and that's not fair to
no,
blame
Uncle
him for
Bill
a
and
low show.
CK want to blame me. Anyway.
I don't know why. I think they just want to yank your chain, but um,
I don't take them seriously. I don't think they're trying to.
well, that's the best way if you don't take them seriously on any of that
I know
stuff.
they're joking.
But we just went a little over a couple of hours, and that was with me blabbing and bullshitting at the beginning of this.
Yeah, if we edited out everything that wasn't about the shows, it would have been like 90 minutes.
Yeah, the dental stuff and all that, if we took that out. But I consider TJ my friend. So sometimes we talk
Ditto.
about other stuff, stuff that you would talk about with your friends, you know. Um, Not necessarily the stuff I talk about with Jay, but
No.
that's on a whole different level.
Straight jacket. Yeah.
I can't wait to see what TJ does with his little video clip. And I do have your permission, of course, to put it in
Oh, yeah, if I give it to you.
commercial. Okay. Well, I don't want to, get a cease and desist later from anybody. So just make it known if you send me a video clip, it's probably going to end up in that commercial. So please don't get angry with me.
So I'm not allowing you to do one of those things where you superimpose a mouth on me and then have some other person say something. You're not
No,
allowed.
I won't do that. No,
If there's any dialogue, it has to be me. And this
I
is
want,
this is recorded, so it's legal.
I want all TJ in there. I don't want any like fake stuff in there, and I'm not gonna alter it now. When I do
Well,
the
that's Friday.
when the t-shirt design's gonna come out for Midday with Dana and Jay, that's gonna be altered a little bit. But Jay already knows about it, and he likes the idea, and so I just want to say, please go buy some t-shirts from me. I mean, I only get a couple of bucks for a t-shirt because I don't do the legwork. I don't make the t-shirts. T Public takes my design and makes the shirts or makes the mugs. I actually got my mom a mug. I bought her a mug and had it sent to her or brought it to her or something, and she was like, "Is that your face on there?" She said, "Your dad asked if that was you." And she said, "Well, Daryl, I think it's her on there." And I was like, "Yeah, that's me." Although I did, kind of like a caricature of myself. I used software because I look better when that's done. I asked Steve one day, I was like, why don't I look this good in real life? But if I put myself through a software program, it makes me look 100 times better. I don't get it, you know. But
Mine's all lighting. I'm all washed out right now. That's perfect for my face.
You look fine, TJ. I'm just not so proud of how I look, but I just have to put that aside and get on here and do streams, because otherwise, if I got so super paranoid about how I looked, I would never do a stream where I was on camera. I used to never want to be on camera. Now I don't pay any attention. I just get on here, focus on the chat, focus on who's on the stream with me, and I try not to even look at myself, unless it just happens by accident. Um, yes, Blissful, the full TJ experience. That's exactly right. Blissful also says, I've had posters of my friends I've used for dart practice. Now, are you sure they're friends, Blissful? That's the question I got to ask.
The frenemies.
Did they used to be friends and now they're not? That's why you're throwing darts out.
Just get the voodoo doll for that. You don't need the darts.
There's a few people in my past that I'd like to use their face as a dartboard. But I won't talk about that.
I
It
have some teachers like that, but I'm sure they're dead by now.
wouldn't have the same effect, would it, TJ?
Yeah,
If they're,
exactly. I mean, what else can they do with it?
you know, I've had,
At the time, they bugged me.
there's legally, I can't talk too much about that, but I'll just say there are certain employers I've had in the past that I would like to just, not the specific person that was my boss, but the company as a whole. I'd like to sit there and just throw darts at those people. But that's all I'll say about it, because I don't want any um, nasty little letters or legal papers being drawn up because I said something. So,
And if they do that, they can at least subscribe to your channel.
yes, please subscribe to the channel. I've got about, what have I got? Almost 750 subscribers now.
That's
Close
pretty
to,
good.
yeah. And I feel like, not that other people don't do it on their own, but this is something I told Steve over and over again, because and this is not saying anything bad about the Dead Pit Boys. They're doing their own thing and they're very successful at it. And I wish them all the best. This is not meant to say anything bad about them. But I think Steve brought it up to me at one time in the past, that he was like, he basically said, that's why I do things on the Dead Pit channel, because nobody would watch me. He said, my channel by itself was not successful, but I get people to watch me if I'm on theirs. And I said, well, I'm not putting down Steve for doing that. That's his deal. That's his thing. But I said, I don't want to do that, because I want to be able to say I did it on my own. If I have any little bit of success, I want to say I did it on my own. Of course, I still can't entirely say it's on my own, because I have TJ on here, which I'm sure TJ brings in other viewers. Jay brings in other viewers.
I wish they
When I
subscribed to my channel. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, definitely go subscribe to TJ's channel.
I barely put anything on there. It doesn't even.
But this content that you do put on there is great, though. That's the point. It's quality, not quantity, right?
Yeah. Well, if my most recent short wasn't under a production company, I would have had it on my channel.
That's but that one was great. But the stuff that you've got actually on your channel is great as well.
Well, I
Uh,
tried to do, like I said, I was trying to do um, watch along, not watch along, but reaction videos, and it's like I tried one to see how it would work, and it was up there for a while, and then I got one of those whoa copyright, and I was like, oh, I don't want to keep doing that. And then I'm just lazy. I don't want to edit shit.
yeah. Well, I've had a few instances where they actually came back, TJ, and slammed me a second time. YouTube did, about the video I did, deep dives. Uh, it was bands in horror movie history, like the Names with Terror on Tour,
Hmm.
um, and it wasn't the name stuff that they uh, pinpointed. They pinpointed the stuff with, I think it was Felony, that band Felony that did stuff for graduation day. I had taken the audio out of some stuff, and they found something else that it was like, I was like, geez, I got to go back and I got to do this again because I just don't want to be on their radar. I try to, if they find something, I'll either go in there and take that part out or I'll mute the audio, whatever they suggest I do. But for them to go back a second time, they said it was okay after I did the first pass. I feel like the MPAA's coming after me. You know how they do with,
One A. They got rid of the other A. It's only
oh,
MP.
did they? It's the
If you
MPA now?
go to movies, it says MPA now.
Wow, I hadn't even noticed that.
Yeah.
So MPA, that's a little bit easier to say anyway. But so I felt like the MPA was coming after me because you know how they do with movies that are rated R or something. If you don't take this out, you got to take out a few seconds here, a few seconds there. You got to take this whole damn scene out
Hmm.
because
Yep.
that's what they did to My Bloody Valentine when it first came out. They were like, if you don't take this whole scene out, they told George Mihalka, they said, you'll never get this movie out. So, you know, it's crazy. But anyway, I want to thank TJ for being on here with me for yet another horror on TV. Or actually, this is horror on streaming services if you want to get technical about it. But you do watch it on your TV. So there you go. That's the loophole. But I want to thank everybody in the chat for being here, and
Right, chat.
we've we've had quite a few people in here on and off throughout this. Thank you, Blissful. Blissful says great live, Dana and TJ. And
Thank you, man.
I'm just wondering, Blissful, you said subscribe. So were you
To
pointing
me,
at
I think she meant.
TJ? Okay, I was going to say, are you just now
I
subscribing
wrote
to me, Blissful?
it.
I was going to yank her chain a little bit about that, and then I realized she was pointing to you, TJ. So we're going to skedaddle on out of here for the night. And you going to go along with me on this, TJ, and see everybody on the flip side?
See you on the flip side.
There you go. That's so. Thank you, Kathy. Kathy says, "Fun live, y'all."
Thank you,
You can,
Cat.
you can tell Kathy's from the South. You can tell she's
Yeah,
from Texas.
I say y'all all the time, and I always say wrestling. I never say wrestling. So anyway,
Well, my mom always wondered why I didn't say when I was talking about a wash rag. She said, "Why don't you say wash rag like everybody else in the family?" I said, "I don't know. I'm not trying to be cityfied or anything like that. It's just
cityfied. That's the most country thing I've ever heard you say.
really or proper, overly proper or anything like that. It's just how it always came out." And she said, "Well, me and your dad say wash." I said, "I know you do, Mom. I don't know why I do it, but
I ain't cityfied. I use my fork for soup and meat.
well, I'm not proper, and I probably embarrass Steve when we go out to dinner or something at a restaurant.
Yes, because he
He's
sounds
taking
not
me.
southern at all.
He's taking me to Olive Garden for our early Valentine's Day dinner um,
What does
this
he want to do?
weekend.
I'm in the Olive Garden.
Well, I know a lot of people that are actually Italian that say Olive Garden ain't Italian. That ain't
It's not.
authentic Italian. See, you heard it from TJ. Um, but I do love Olive Garden, and hopefully, very well, not very very soon, but here in the near future, me and Steve are actually going to get to go to Italy and eat some
Oh,
authentic Italian food. and wine and or drink the wine. I don't think Steve will, but I'm gonna if I get to Italy, I'll probably gain 300. I'll be 300 pounds when I come back because I'm gonna eat all that pasta and all that stuff. Uh, Blitzle says, I can't celebrate a holiday with the initials BD. Yes, endless breadsticks, Kathy.
That's a
Exactly.
lie. I think they actually charge you now more than they did before or something.
Oh yeah, they
Yeah.
definitely do.
It's not endless. Like they like, oh, you can have this much, and then you want to pay for more. You can do that. But
Yeah, they have some kind of caveat there. So anyway, we are going to get out of here for the night. There's still 3 people in here, according to the count up there. But y'all all need to go to bed, and so do me and TJ. Although not together, we're going to go to bed, but not together.
that would be hard.
Just, just a joke. Even,
1,000 miles apart. I don't think that's happening.
well, sometimes I feel like I got to tell these people because they might say, well, if they didn't know us, TJ, and know we're in totally different
I
states
think
and
they would
all.
figure it out, Dana. I really do.
I don't know. There's these guys I think they're in Canada that Steve watches on YouTube, and I think they were quite a ways apart, but now they're living in the same apartment and they still do their show. But hell, I can't tell the difference between when they were in their own separate apartments and when they're living together in one apartment now. It's like, okay, whatever. So, anyway, we are going to get out of here for the night and we'll see everybody next time. So, good night, TJ, and good night, chat.
Peace.